welcome to episode 2 of Word to Your Mama. Thanks for making it past episode 1. Episode 1 was a little raw, kids, but I'm back in full effect. I feel like I didn't do that great of a job introducing or giving you a little bit of background on myself, but I feel like that will come in time. I'll talk a little bit in the beginning of each episode, but I really feel this isn't about me. I feel this is really about the guests, what the guests bring, the wisdom, the knowledge, the bars that they drop. So I really want to start off with a bang. So here we are with Elisa Garcia and Lilliam Rivera, two amazing, dope women that I have the pleasure and the honor to talk to on a regular basis, pretty much daily. And that was pre-COVID, but especially during COVID. So yeah, without further ado, now Productions Lite, let's get it started. Okay, ladies, so thank you for being here. I wanted to have you here. Yeah, just right. I don't talk like that. So, sweaty balls. No. So God. People need to understand what this is from jump. First and foremost, this is Nabi Productions up in here. But this is Nabi Productions Lite. You guys ain't getting it all. We're not giving it all to you right now. So Nabi Productions. We got Elisa. Do I say with the accent or not? Garcia. No.
However you want.
Right? Who's to say? I'm taking these Spanish classes. It's kind of like, it's who's to say.
Is it Los Angeles or
Los Angeles? Ooh, let's keep it going.
Yeah.
She's host of KQBH's Heartbreak Mondays.
Yes.
She's dope as fuck. We also have Lilliam Rivera.
Yep.
Author extraordinaire, who's also dope as fuck. And us three together, Nabi Productions. Am I right?
And I would like to verify that Lilliam is 100% Puerto Rican from the Bronx.
What?
The Bronx. So I don't even know what you're saying right now. Like, right? Are you questioning? Is anyone listening questioning it? What if I
look? BX all the way. I don't even want to say the audacity of it all.
The caucasity right now.
The caucasity.
But I don't know if people are new to the podcast. Somebody want to debrief what I immediately went into here?
She's not joking. Yo.
Let's do it. Let's do it. I was just asking. I forgot to ask you. Anything off limits? It seems like it's not. Let's go. Boom. Let's do this shit. Let's do it. Expand.
Okay. So what's her name? She went by the name of Jess La Bombalera.
Oh my God.
But her name was what? Jess Krutz or Kutz? Or Grutz?
Krug?
It's with a K.
With a K, that's all
Krug.
I know.
And she was she was supposedly an Afro-Latina from the Bronx, and heading a department in Columbia College, I think it is. And she yesterday posted a Medium essay revealing that she is not an Afro-Latina Puerto Rican from the Bronx, but is actually Jewish from Kansas. And she said, cancel me, but I don't know what that looks like. And I'm like, girl, I know exactly what that looks like. It looks like payment.
Please believe it. She knows. She knows exactly what it is. She knows exactly what it is.
How'd you guys feel about that? I was online all day yesterday freaking out about it.
I wasn't online most of the day, which is rare because I was at some recycling center. And so when I came back, I just was like, what's this shit on my timeline? What? Like, that can't be real. But of course, it's a trash-ass year, trash-ass times. Then of course. I mean, did we lose?
I know.
No, I'm still here.
Oh, okay.
I'm just being
She-
quiet.
We lost video though. We don't see you, but you're there.
Yes. Oh, sorry. Okay, I'll try to figure it out.
Okay, so I'm always on Twitter, so I always get my information, and that's the sad thing because I always am. But when that went down, I immediately, I was just like, don't link to it because Homegirl's getting paid every time you go to her Medium post.
Yeah.
And also just, I don't know, like, don't give her any more play. Like,
Yeah.
and then all the stories started coming out, which is really upsetting because then all the stories started coming out of all the fellowships and all the scholarships that she received under that cosplaying, BS that she did, for years, right? It's very violent. I just want to say that it's a very violent thing that she did. And she got away with it for years. And and people were were weary and were aware that something was off to say anything because she was a bully, and she policed a lot of other people, which is so disturbing.
The fucking caucasity, man. And the thing is, she knows what's up, right? She knows that she's gonna be, she knows how the system is and she's playing it. And everyone knows it too. We all know that shit. She's gonna get a payout. Like, she's gonna get all these extra opportunities now because fuck that. It pisses me the fuck off. It gets me so upset.
Yeah, I read a tweet by Sofia Quintero, which I think sums up the whole situation quite beautifully. And this is her quote. It says, "Nothing says white privilege like trying to orchestrate your own cancellation."
Please believe it. So on point.
It's true. I was like, for real though? She's like, cancel me, but I don't know what that's like. I'm like, literally, I could give you a list, and it has all the dollar signs.
Yeah.
Don't talk to me about, here's this woman who has spent most of her life in these kind of, I guess I'm saying, like social movements somewhat, and she knows exactly what you're supposed to do. Action, action, action. So I don't know. It affected me in a weird way. And I was just up, like I woke up at 4 a.m. I had a horrible nightmare. And it has nothing to do with me per se, but it's just the violence of it. This is yet again a violent act being perpetrated by a white woman.
Yeah.
It's just super upsetting.
What do you think made her out herself, like at this point in time? Do you think someone was actually getting close? Do you think there was some white guilt involved? Like, it just seems like she could have probably rode this out for longer, right?
Yeah, I think, and what I've seen is that people were going to out her, that it was going to come out, and so she just sort of tried to
preempted it,
right?
Preemptive strike. And how many with like her and Homegirl? I mean, she didn't. I guess she did portray that she was like Latina, right? Who the one who wasn't. I don't even want to say her name. The other chick earlier this year, right?
Right.
Like, how many more in others in the same spaces, in other spaces? Like, I see people on my timeline like, oh, I know such and such that perpetrates. She's a Latina and she's on like a major. And I was just like, what? Like,
yeah.
How many more?
That's what people were saying in certain group chats that I'm in. They were like, oh yeah, everyone's just going off on naming names, but not online, And I'm just like, ugh, that's just awful. I don't know. It's but it's historical, right? It's like this has been going on for history, right? Of white women kind of cosplaying, black lives, or for money, in music. We've seen it so many times. It's just, I guess I just kept thinking in my head, like she was like from the Bronx, and she played up this whole narrative about having addicted parents who, committed suicide or OD'd or she was a product of rape. Like her stories, which it was always like changing, but that whole thing of like really playing up these quote unquote cliches about what it means to be Afro-Latina, what it means to be Black, to be from the Bronx, all these things is just playing up on that is just so freaking violent and so disturbing. And that, who ends up losing in all of this is still going to be Black people. It doesn't matter, cancel or not cancel. The only people who end up messed up in this situation are Black people, Afro-Latinos.
Yeah.
In those institutions, in every sense of the world, So, yeah, I was just really upset.
It's a blow. It's like another fucking blow for the year. Just when you think it was like, what? Another fucking one of these bitches again?
Yeah.
But this time she saw what happened to homegirl. And then when people started like threatening her, she was like, oh, she got a playbook. She's like, oh, let me play this right. Fucking cunt, dude.
I didn't want to talk too much about it, but I just wanted to set the tone for your podcast that we are all three Latinas, Latinx, however you want to. We're certified. Nabi is certified.
Oh yeah.
So if you are looking to hire some certified brown ladies, here you go.
Right here. Right fucking here. I bet if I can find my Jamaican horn.
Oh, the air horn?
Can't find
You're gonna drop it?
I'm gonna find it and I'm gonna add it up in this episode because it's necessary right now. And I think that's also, one of the main points that I was like, why do I connect? Some of the themes of this podcast is like me doing the different shit, the different facets, and also building my tribe. And you guys are a huge, important part of that because there's so many things that overlap, but I think two of the main keys I think that overlap that don't in my other groups, friend groups, is that hip hop is a huge part of our lives, still will forever be, and I feel like we just really keep it real with ourselves and with each other. We can be as honest as fuck, and it's like no judgment. Do you know what I'm saying? It's not like some play, like there's some groups where, everyone's just like trying to say the right thing and, and like stuff like that. But it's here just like straight rawness. And I love it. And I feel like you guys have helped me significantly because of that. And I feel like also because, Lilliam, you're from the Bronx, New York, so it's no problem that you love hip hop and maybe you could say and not be in certain things. But I feel like for Elisa and I feel we have a similar experience that we're from the West Coast, right? So you could be all loving hip hop and be from that time and from that era, but when we grew up, it was like you had to be one thing over here, over there. And I don't know if you got called that, but there are times where people that didn't know me, I was called a mayatera. Did that happen to you?
That's interesting. What's a mayatera mean?
Mayatera is like a derogatory word that a mayete is like a derogatory word for Black people. And a mayatera is like you just hang out with Black people or you just, like that. So I don't know, Lisa, if that happened to you.
Well, it was interesting because I grew up for several years, not my whole childhood, but in Richmond, California. And so
area. That's different too.
I grew up in a Black community with the majority of Black people. The problem that I had was when I came to LA and LA was so segregated and everyone, until I went to college, would just be like, you're weird. And I'm like, how so? And I remember like wearing a Prince t-shirt. Like I went to Catholic school. My parents, I don't know why they sent me to Catholic school. And so it was always a big thing when you got to do free dress. So when you got to rock your own clothes to school. Mm-hmm. And so I was all excited and I wore my Prince t-shirt to school. And someone was like, why do you have an N-word on your shirt?
Ooh.
And I literally instead of smacking the person, just like burst into tears because I just couldn't understand that level of like ignorance,
Exactly.
you know? And so I feel very fortunate because LA tends to be so segregated that I had that experience growing up in the Bay. And like, no cliche, like my photos from my childhood are like, remember those United Benetton commercials?
Yes. I just had the relative on and we were Benetton. That's what they called us because it was like one black chick, one Mexican chick, the United Colors of Benetton. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So that's how like I grew up, and like my, you know, the first couple like 10, 11 years of my life. And so when I came to LA, it was a big kind of shift for me. So it is a little bit what you're speaking about, Ritzy, is this kind of like I was heavily influenced from an early age, you know, by black people, black communities, black love. And it blows my mind how ignorant people are in this day and age.
For sure.
I mean,
go ahead.
I was gonna say like it's weird because you know I grew up in the birthplace of hip hop, and that like my whole surrounding, you know, was about that. But my family, that's not how you roll. You know, they're like, you hang with Latinos, and that's it. For if you're family, actually, if it's first family and then Latinos, and then everybody else.
Right.
You know what I mean? So that was what I was like. I was raised that way in a way. Like that's the way. That was the message they were sending. But my, you know, every friend of my everything was always both black and brown people. Like that's all I lived with. It's, you know, my whole surrounding. So it was just a really weird mixed messaging going on with my, you know, Puerto Rican family.
Staying competitive in these dynamic times means having the right technology at work for your small or medium-sized business. Whether your goal is to grow, downsize, or modernize, Panoply BPO provides the right combination of tools, support, and affordability necessary to make it a reality. Visit panoplybpo.com. That's PANOPLYBPO.com to schedule your no-obligation consultation today. Mention WTYM and get your 13th month of service for free. PanoplyBPO.com. There is a better way.
You know, there's just a lot of colorism going on.
A lot of colorism, and I just feel like, you know, being that it's. I mean, I listened to other types of music, but I got flack for it during that time because at that time, if you're a Mexican where I lived, it was like new wave only, social, blah blah blah. Like, you know, and I was a floater. I like a lot of shit, so I'm gonna hang out. I'm gonna do the dances over here. You know, I'm gonna have this, you know, Morrissey, like the Smiths lyrics on my Trapper Keeper. You know, and I'm gonna do all this stuff, but it was a different type of mindset, you know. And I feel like looking back now and talking to my relative the other day, like I was lucky. I feel like you said, Elisa, I was lucky that I was exposed, you know, at an early age because I liked hip hop. But then here comes like, you know, the one of only two, maybe three black people in my school. And then they liked me because they were like, oh, she can dance. Like, you know, I was telling her yesterday, I was telling her about the other two black girls that really taught me a lot. And they saw me, they're like, oh, you can do it. I go, yeah. And I wooed them by doing the Janet Jackson dance from Pleasure
Which
Principle.
one? Oh, hey. Did you have the chair?
I didn't have the chair because it was at nutrition, but they were like, oh, you can dance. And I was like, can I? Because I just dance. Like, you know what I mean? So we were rolling. Man. And so, you know, being introduced to that world at a young age and stuff like that, and just also loving all the different types of music. But then growing up, you know, I have sets of friends in different lanes, right? But you two, this situation here is the first time where a lot of different things overlap. And like, you know, to get this kind of like this nah-be sensibility, it was always dudes. if that makes sense. Like, you know,
Oh.
to understand on that type of level, you know, and the music and that sensibility, it's like it's my guy friends. They would understand that, and I could talk to them, and you know, we get each other. But you ladies came along, and it was just like, oh, word, like it was just
We're
like
like, nah, bruja.
exactly,
We took it to the next level.
exactly.
To tie it all in to our what we introduced at the beginning, like this is the multi-level experience that I identify as Chicana, but I'm going to say Latina for the sake of the interview to be like more inclusive. But how again this woman that was fronting and being not only, you know, Black but also Latina, like how diminished our experiences are, and
Yeah.
we're so multifaceted. Like, you know, we're both from the West Coast, Lilliam's from the Bronx, but it's just like we're all really different, but we do really share so many things in common. And I think that's the struggle, right, with podcasts, with Netflix series and things that we're seeing. Like we're still not reflected in any way in a lot. I mean, we are more so, and there are great books and things, but I think this is like why your podcast is so dope, is because it's just like, hey, like our voices are real, and we need to put them out there. Because I know for me, I'm always kind of like a little bit shy, hiding in the corner, but I do feel really great after I do things like this. Like, man, I should, you know, step up a little bit more and like share my
Yeah,
experiences with people.
for sure. Because I feel like, you know, they're saying when I was doing research on what I was going to do, I was like, I'm not going to change who the fuck I am and what I do. Like, oh, you can get more listeners if it's not explicit and if you just, you know, focus on one thing. Nah, B. Like, I'm not. I cuss. That's what I do. I have all different types of friends, experiences, and it's such. Some of my things are super niche, and the people that I have on are some of their experiences are super niche. But in the in the way that it's super focused, it's universal in a way. You know, it overlaps with so many different things, and I feel like you're saying representation really matters, and when you could see yourself a little bit on screen, in a book, on a podcast, whatever. It's just like you grab onto it because we ain't got shit. We haven't had shit in a long ass time. So the more it's just like, like, you know, like it's just like amazing. And I feel like just put this, it's the time. Like, if not during a fucking pandemic, then when?
Right. Right.
Do you know what I'm saying? Like, then fucking when? And then it's crazy too, thinking of this crew, this, you know, Nabi Productions, is that there's also you guys overlap because you guys are both from, you know, I'm learning so much because you guys are both deep in the literary world, you know. You know, you've been in it for a long time, Elisa. You've been writing and also writing your own shit for a while, but also before that, how I met you because you were writing, you know, you were a freelance writer and stuff like that. So I'm learning mad shit and I'm being exposed to mad stuff because, like, I also get like the inside dirt, the scoops from you ladies. You know, like what?
We're still rebounding from the American Dirt scandal, which is
Yes,
Still.
and it's like all that shit.
this
Like
year
another
has
one.
been so long and whack.
Was that this year?
It
That
was this
was
year, right?
if I think I don't know because what the fuck is time? But it feels like it was yesterday, but it also feels like it was 2 years ago. No, like it feels like
Yeah. Maybe I'm conflating it, but I don't know.
I
Oh
think
my
it
God.
was.
I think it was this year.
That's
I
awful.
just when I think about that situation, immediately I think about those centerpieces.
Oh yeah, that's the
Yeah.
first thing you think about because that's when the horror really came into focus. Because you're like that picture went around and you're like, no, someone
Is that
approved
real?
this shit. They actually
Dude.
no, not even approve it. They approved the order for it, so they ordered it and then sent it up.
Somebody
Set it up.
set it up. Like
Someone set it up.
Someone was like, "Ooh, this would be good."
This is a great idea. Like,
Took
and I just want to
pictures.
say, like, from a person who has published 4 books, right? And I'm like, you know, any little thing, any little marketing thing that they do, I'm like, fabulous. This is great, you know. but they show it to me. This is great, you know. And so I was thinking for like Never Look Back, they were sending a couple of things out to, you know, like Latino bookstagram people, and they were like, we're gonna give a nice little box, and they showed me what they were thinking of doing, and then I was like, oh, what about this? And I sent back stuff, and I was just like, I'm very involved.
Yeah.
In what they're
Yeah.
sending. I wanted to, like, they had sent something that was very like, oh, like, I don't know what it was, like a notebook that said mija or something. And I was like, that's not really like Puerto Rican.
Yeah.
Like, we don't say mija, you know?
Oh, really? What do you say?
I don't know.
But it ain't that.
I love listening to that. You know, that's a very West Coast thing, I feel.
Okay.
Or so then I was just like, no, that's not really us. And then I found a notebook that said palante, which is very
Right.
us.
Yeah. So yeah, for sure.
But that's also very new. You know, that's very Bronx. Like, I don't think that's a Puerto Rican thing. I mean, maybe it is.
Real regional.
So I don't know. It was just very specific. But I'm just saying, no one showed up with no centerpiece. You know.
Right. They didn't
'Cause
put they didn't put a Cuban flag. They put the right flag.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
Imagine.
That's some shit that would happen. You
No,
know,
for
like if you
sure.
weren't involved, they're like, oh, look at this mini Cuban flag. Whoops.
Wrong. Someone thought, and then someone thought it was so dope. They're like, "Ooh, I'm dope. I'm gonna put this on here." Wrong.
that
But
would've
you
been
know-
horrifying.
But you know, homegirl, since you were so involved, she was so involved, and you know, she co-signed all that shit.
Oh,
She thought it was dope as fuck.
of
She
it.
was like, "It looks like my cover." Bob Bryant, fucking, it's ridiculous.
How are you gonna, like, the co-opting of this of pain, of black and brown pain, and then putting it into a nail, like a, you
Yeah.
know, your nail
On your
art.
On your nail art, yeah, bitch. Nah,
Like, oh
it's
man,
not
that's really,
be all around. That shit is like, nah, be to that. Nah, be to that.
Nah,
Not like.
oh my God, that's funny. But you know how I love talking about how we met, because Ritzy, we met because I was working for Modern Luxury magazine,
still
which is
around?
yeah, it was a Modern Luxury Media, and all they do was produce these city magazines, luxury magazines in different cities, like about 12 or 15 cities. And so then I was in charge of their online stuff, and then you were doing design work, and that's where I met you.
But I think I got introduced to you via Jen Kuroki. And because I remember she was like, "Oh, you got to meet her. She's dope. You'd like her. She's like, you know, she's from the Bronx." And ding, 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 correct. But then, like, I met you and we worked there, but then, like, we didn't, like, reconnect until later. But I think it was around the same time. I'm all pointing like you guys are really right there. Like, and then because how did you two meet? Through Espacio?
Through my brother. No, through my brother, because my brother was visiting LA. He didn't live here yet. And my brother would do dance, traditional bomba y plena, like traditional Puerto Rican music, dance or whatever. And so he was doing some sort of dance tutorial, and it was at your shop.
Yeah, they rented the back of the bookstore at night to do their classes.
So then my brother's like, "Oh yeah, she's really dope. You know, she's really dope. She owns this bookstore, blah blah. You really get, you know, you guys would hit it off." But it would be years later until we finally met.
Yeah.
And
And I think we all clicked around the time that Margot Sanchez came out, because we were just like trying to support. Remember, Ritzy?
Oh yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
So you
We started
had me
talking more
on your
after that.
show. You had me on your show, and then I think that's when you had your show over at the same space, and then you're like, "Oh, I think I'm gonna have her on or something," and then somehow we were talking, and then we had that first dinner at A-Frame together.
Oh, that's right. That was fun.
Wait, me?
Yeah,
All three of us.
all
I
three
don't
of us.
remember.
That's that picture of us laughing that we always post. Like,
Oh,
every
that's
week.
right. That was a good
That
one.
was
Yeah.
that was outside.
And we were there for a long time.
We were there for a long
Mhm.
time. And
Is
Elisa,
A-Frame still open?
I don't know.
Yeah.
Everything's closed. This was back in the day when we actually could see people and have dinner with each other.
Exactly. But I think if it is still open, I think Roy left it though, right? I think he like pieced out on it, like I'm done here. I don't know. Who's to say?
I don't know. You should have Roy on your podcast.
I know. I
He's
was
a
thinking
great,
that.
yeah.
I would
He's
love to.
great.
I would love to have him on, Roy Choi. And we were talking about your. Elisa had this amazing bookstore, Emish Books, in Eagle Rock. Was it Eagle Rock area?
Yes.
Yeah. And I knew you. I knew you before I met you because I knew your ex from that
Because
scene.
oh right.
Yeah.
And you know
And
Carmelita, who like I've
and Carmen.
lived with like in various stages in my life.
Yeah,
She always takes me in.
Carmelita gave me and one of my best friends at the time she gave me my chance to be invitation to be an intern at the Wake Up Show, the world famous Wake Up Show. It was on the Beat at the time. And then Sway gave my other friend the invite, and we were like, "Oh shit, we're like we love hip hop and we're both here at the same time." And Carmelita was the one who hooked me up there. And then but then I would go to your store, but I wouldn't talk.
Mhm.
I was like, I don't really know her, but she's so amazing.
Aw.
And then when you
And
asked me to be at your show, I was like, this is awesome. Like, I like her so much. And then we bonded on Roy Joy.
yeah.
I was like, he said
Yes.
my name? He mentioned me? That was mad years ago. Mad years ago. And then so what year was that? The A-frame time. Like, how long have you been doing this? It'll be like
That
1
must
year.
have been 2000 because my
So
my
9
book came
months.
out. It was like 2017 because then my book came out 2017.
Yeah.
So then it must have been after that.
Yeah. I think it's around
only,
that time.
It's only been 3 years. Why does it feels like a long, like long, you know?
It's been like at least 5 years in my mind.
It's because this year felt, we've gone through so much this year. That's probably why.
Yeah.
That's crazy. So I wanted to also talk about like some people are listening. They're like, what is nah be? Like what? And if like you guys want to explain how wonderful and versatile a phrase like nah be is.
Oh my God. Did you guys grow up using that? Because that was like, it was notoriously used in the Bronx. Like that would be like it's so like so ingrained in my life, like my DNA, that my kids use it. Because they're just like, I use it so much. Because they'd be asking me for something and I'll be like, nah, B. They're like,
best.
what?
That's the best.
It literally means no, right?
Because of hip hop and watching the shows and seeing interviews with my favorite, MCs, and they would use it. That's how it infiltrated my life at an early age, and I've always loved it, and it's great when I can use it and someone understands it because I just use it, but not everyone understands it. They're like, "What did she say?"
Really?
Yeah.
That's really, yeah. I guess I've always used it, and I guess I don't use it as much. It depends where. In my mind, I use it a lot. Like I will be in a,
right.
in a
it's
panel,
in your head.
and someone says something, and I'll be like, "Nah, be in my head," but maybe I won't say it.
Right.
What about you, Elisa? What since back in the days, or
No, I think it was really it was in college where I heard like again like hip hop and I just remember I had this weird conversation. It wasn't weird, but this conversation with my coworkers, and he's Mexican, and he's like, "Do you ever use the N-word?" And I was like, "What?" He's like, "You never said it." I was like, "Nope." I said, "I don't." It was just very clear in my mind. But I remember, so we're going down this road, right, of non-Black people using it, which of course I do not endorse, never done. But in the 90s, in hip hop in LA, like I remember like there was like a bunch of us that would all roll to shows, and some of the Latino folks would use it. And it was just kind of like, and our Black friends wouldn't check them on it. And it was just kind of like a thing that they said. And it's like, and I feel like that has finally shifted, I think, in a way. Like, I just feel like now people are getting it, that you cannot say that word. But I just remember in the 90s, like, people would say it, like, in that way, It was just weird.
I grew up with, like, with the it was like mostly Filipinos, and still to this day they say that shit, and it fucking irked me. It irks me then. It irked me then, and it irks me now. Like, you can't say it. Like, you can't
Right.
say it. You know, and then but then I know, like, talking to my homeboy Kano, who I'll have on here, and you guys know he's from Queens, and he was like, we're from New York. It's like everybody said it. Like, it didn't matter what the fuck you were. It was just, that's what you just said it. And I was like, yeah, that's not how it is here. People say it, but they're saying it not like they
But
ain't singing along.
that's the true though. Is what Kato said is true though, because I mean, I would never say it, but I know my brothers would say it. I know they say it to their friends.
Yeah.
I know,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Like it's just so tossed around. I don't know if it's still happening because obviously I don't live in New York, but
Yeah.
I'm
I
sure it's still.
wonder. Yeah, I'm sure, right? I've never even back. There was something, I don't know how I knew, but I just would not even sing in it in a song. Like, I still don't.
Right.
But like, even as a kid, like when junior high, I wouldn't. I just it didn't feel right. I don't know. And
Yeah.
it's like, some people are like, oh, it's okay because I'm saying in a song. No, I don't think
Yeah.
it's okay.
I know you guys are both going to roll your eyes, but it's totally fine. When I went to, I think I saw you there, Ritzy. Was it FYF when Frank Ocean canceled and they got Kanye last minute? And so I was there.
Oh, I
Okay.
don't
And
I don't think so.
I mean, it was a year before that I saw you, but I was at FYF and Kanye was performing, and I forget what song he was saying, but he was telling people, "You can say the N-word, say it," and I was just like, "What is happening right now?" And
Probably the one that's like "And in Paris" or something.
that's it. That's the song, yeah. And the lights are flashing, and you look out into the crowd, and it's FYF. It's like 90% white people screaming the
Right.
N-word at the top
Oh,
of their lungs,
God.
and I was just like, what is happening?
The worst.
Disturbing.
Super
But
disturbing.
it's like people think, like, I don't want to get into a Kanye discussion, but all these white kids that are into Kanye are like, he's telling me I can say it.
And they're gonna leave that show. They left that show and are
get
still
their
saying
ass
it
beat
till
when they say it.
if they
in the
say it
street.
in the wrong place. Please believe it. But they probably won't be in the wrong place, and they'll say it because they were like, Kanye co-signed. I could say it. He told me he's the top of the top for them, and they
Yeah,
can say it.
but that's not necessarily true because you do it on TikTok, do a TikTok situation, and people be shouting you out.
Yeah.
College kids are losing their ride because of their
Yeah.
flippant way of saying those words.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
now. But before, I mean, years ago, that wasn't going down, and it's only if they get caught. It's. I don't even know how you could say
Well, it's
it
like
in any
anything, right?
capacity.
It's like with all this police violence we're finally seeing. It's been going on forever, but it's just that now that people are being filmed. I mean, for me, the first time I remember anything being filmed for me was Rodney King, obviously.
Rodney King, and it was live.
Mm.
On some VHS shit.
Right.
Where were you at when Rodney King happened, Lilliam? Were
I
you
was
in New York?
Yeah, I was in New York. So to me, that whole situation really far away from me. Like it was like it didn't have for me at that time, and I can't remember how old I was, but the impact of it wasn't as intense as I'm sure it must have been here with the West Coast.
Yeah.
I don't know. There's something about that, like what we're seeing now and the movement that's very like international is very different. Like I understand, like I don't know, and I'm just trying to think back as to how old I must have been at the time. But yeah, I guess for me, what really messed me up more so, and we've all seen this shit, witnessed it even in our family, all the stuff, the police brutality stuff, was really when Trayvon Martin hit, and I was here. And then just just knowing that Zimmerman was Latino, just knowing that he was a little kid, that kind of just broke me.
Yeah.
I mean, there's been many broken heart situations, but that just kind of broke me.
Right.
Yeah.
I think that, yeah, for me as a non-Black person, uh, I think Rodney King was the definitive thing to me. It's like, yo, this shit happens. Like,
Yeah.
you know, and I didn't know about Latasha Harlins, which had happened before that, you know.
Right.
And so, I've learned about that later on in life. But yeah, I just think, Black children, Black people have to learn about these things almost immediately. But again, like Rodney King was something definitive to me, where it's like, this is what happens in the world, Elisa,
Yeah. It was at a interesting time. I think we were young, but in the transition when that happened, what was that 90?
I think I was in college when it happened. Yeah, it was in the 90s.
So
I have to
like
look it up. Yeah. Let's see.
It was the 90s because I don't think I was up here yet. So it had to have been before 93, 94 because I didn't go up to Long Beach till 94, I think. So it was kind of like, you're just coming into your own and you're just like, oh shit, like what the fuck? Like this is really real. I don't know.
It was 1991.
Oh, 91. I was still in high school.
Yeah, I think I was a freshman at UCLA.
91. I was definitely in college, but I might have been away actually. Because I went to the colonized place. I went to Spain for a year. Yeah.
What's funny is that like recently we've been having conversations with the Supernatural Bear, and he was like, we're listening to Bebel Gilberto, and he was like, who's that? And I was like, oh, she's Portuguese, but she's from Brazil. And I was like, because Portugal conquered, colonized, da da da. He's like, oh, so they did the same thing that Spain did to Mexico. And I was like, yeah. Into so many countries, mijo. Welcome to the world.
I think kids are just so much more advanced. Like, it's pretty amazing. Like, a lot of the things that I understood about the world I learned through my friends. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But I feel like now I actually talk to my children directly about these things, which I think is dope. I mean, I hate that I have to, but you know what I'm saying?
They get it from somewhere,
Yeah,
and they get the truth, the correct information that, because I was when you especially I barely showed up at school, but I did well, and that's one of the things Naisha hates. But when I got to college and you got to pick your own shit and I got to take all these, I was just like, I love learning. Like, I want more of this shit. Oh, word? Right. This is what really happened? They didn't teach me that shit in high school. Like, what? Like, it was just like all these what moments, like word. And then, you go to college and you have these professors, and I feel like a lot of people go through that. I don't know if that happened to you guys, but you go through that stage. I was like hella activist, hella like, I'm going to change the motherfucking world and, come out of that and, stuff like that. So I don't know. I think it was great time I was just like, I want to learn all this shit. Fuck this shit.
I mean, I went through the same period. Like, I had to go to college to be kind of, to get radicalized in a way, or like, to learn about history. And so I was, I was a history major, so I really was really into it. But I also still had to like search for the kind of history I wanted to learn. And most of the time I just wanted to learn about Caribbean history, and that was so limited, but yeah, it's really interesting because now I'm able to be very blunt about certain situations with my daughters, and they're just like, I know I could be overwhelming and overbearing at times, but I don't care. Like, I don't care. Like, right. You're gonna learn the truth, right? It's like, I'm gonna tell you. So.
Yeah. And I think one thing, like, I definitely want to have you ladies back on again, but I think one thing I want to dive deep into another time is, we've had these conversations a lot, is we came up in a certain way with not that much, in a certain atmosphere, in a certain environment where my senses are like, bow, 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 like ready to roll. Someone's walking too close, I'm knowing. Like, I could scope out the scene. I do the recon, like, And, we're giving our kids another upbringing. And how do you, without scaring the shit out of them, give them the street smarts
It's so
without
hard.
living in the streets? You know what I'm saying? Like, Supernatural Bear, is he gonna, sharpen his street skills in the mean streets of Palm Springs? No.
It is, yeah. That's such a weird thing. It's yeah, I don't even know, because sometimes I'm just like, yo, you gotta be alert. Like I keep saying that, you gotta be alert, pay attention. And then my daughter's like, huh?
Exactly.
Can I just walk? Take a walk. I'm like, no. It's like,
no, you can't. There's always these things that might happen. Okay, so anyways, let's get into these rapid fire questions.
Right,
okay.
All right.
Let's go, Elisa. Let's go with the first one. The first one's, I feel like, it's an easy one. It's 3 words to describe yourself.
Oh, come on. That's 3 words. Oh, yeah, that's 3 words. Oh, come on.
Hilarious.
Nobby.
I'll go with the obvious ones. I'm a mom, I'm a bookseller, and I'm a fucking Gemini.
Ooh, I forget that you're a Gemini.
I forget too, but then, I don't.
That's so true, though.
Because what's crazy? We'll have like these threads, right? And we'll ask questions or whatever the fuck we're talking about. And then it doesn't come out all the time. But when it comes out, it comes the fuck out. And then we'll be like, oh, Lisa just says blah, blah.
Where it's like a bomb. And then you're like, oh,
yeah,
shit.
Yeah. You're like, oh, shit. Yeah, that's real. She is a Gemini. It's amazing. It's amazing. Lilliam, you. 3 words.
Yes. Oh, damn. Let's see. Bronx annoyed mama.
Oh, whoa.
She's always annoyed with somebody.
Whoa,
somebody saying some stupid shit.
Okay. Next one.
Wait,
Lilliam.
you don't have to answer these questions?
No. Nah, B.
I'm the host.
I'll answer him another time. This is
Okay,
this is not about me. It's about you, ladies. It's about you.
I just want to say, I would, if I could pick a word for Lilliam, I would say classy. I think Lilliam is so fucking classy.
That's
real.
a
good word, right?
That's good. You know what? That's real, because when I first met you and I didn't really know you, like I was introduced to you, I think one of the things that Jen was like, oh, she has like mad style and you were classy. And I was like, and just stereotypes. I was like, is she from the Bronx? But I didn't know you, but then I didn't talk to you. You know what I'm saying? I met you like in a professional setting or something. So, we do what we gotta do in the professional setting. You're not gonna beat me up and stuff. You don't know me. So I was like,
the code switch. The code switch.
Yeah, we're not gonna, we got a code switch. And that's a real thing. And so I saw you and I was like, oh, she's, it's like a fashion shit. So you're just like, I was like, wow, she's classy. And then I got to know you. I was like, oh, yeah.
It's true. I do love fashion. I really do. I'm a sucker. But yeah, I like classy. I'll cool. I'm good with that.
You'll take it?
Yeah, I'll take it.
Classy. Okay, next one. Lilliam, you start off with this one. It says, what is the best piece of advice you've ever received?
Oof. The best piece of advice is stop looking at someone else's paper. Like really, like just for everything. Because I'm always like, but why? Why do they get what's up? Why? Like just trying to compare and contrast. Like you can't live like that. So you have to just be really aware that your journey is your journey. So
that's real.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
Elisa?
Oh. Skip this question.
She forgot she had to answer. She was like, that's a good one.
She's like, that's good.
Keep it moving.
Next. She's like, next.
I'd have to get back to you. Honestly, I can't think of anything right now.
Okay. Then you start off the next one then, Elisa. What are you
Okay.
doing to dismantle the patriarchy?
Oof.
Oh, yeah.
I
Both of
would
your
start
faces
by
at the same time,
saying
you could say, ooh.
probably not enough. First of all, probably not enough. But I think I one of the things I love about being a bookseller is that despite capitalism, I feel like I get to be really in line with who I am, you
Mm.
know? And I'm always actively trying to share information with other people, you know? So I get the privilege to be like, you should read this book by Angela Davis. You should read this
Mm.
book, you know? Uh it's just like I feel that's what I do like on a daily basis, and I'm always constantly trying to bring attention to BIPOC authors like Lilliam, and just really use my platform in that industry to push those voices to the front. And like I said, I know it's not enough, but I think that's what I do on
That's
a daily basis.
that's significant. That's a lot. You might not think it, but it's a lot because you, especially how books are so amazing and they become part of you when you read them, you're probably changing people's fucking life by adding that shit and throwing, letting them know about them books. So that's good. That's major. Gracias for your service.
Oh,
Lilliam, next.
What am I doing? I don't know. I'm just I'm just trying to be real, I guess, whenever I'm like on social media or in any kind of like event that I'm in. I just try to be real and just try to learn how to speak in a public manner, when they appear in a public space. Because I feel like that's like a goal for me, because before I was like, oh yeah, I'm in these these environments are so new to me, and I'm not sure how to navigate. And now I'm just like, no, I'm going to call you out.
Yeah.
Or I'm going to be real, or I'm going to be very real about it, because people always ask me about publishing and how things are, and you're so lucky, and it's all true. But I want to be real about the publishing journey,
Yeah.
and and being a person of color in that, and just be, so if I have any kind of say in any kind of way, I want to be as honest as possible. So
Okay. Yeah. And I feel like both of you both have, Lillian, you have two daughters, at least you have one. And it's just, I think you guys are also helping to dismantle that by just being yourselves and being amazing moms and showing with action, being these examples of you living, doing everything to your fullest potential and going against the grain. I feel like that's what both of you, that's why I admire both of you guys. Go against the grain because you're just doing whatever you would want to be doing. And I feel like that's a great example for them to see and for anyone that's around you to see. So thank you. Second to last question. Let's go with Elisa. What song do you have that's heavy in your rotation right now?
oh, geez. Honestly, straight up, I don't know, but it's that one song, and you woo woo woo. It's that R&B song.
Yeah.
Does Luther sing
I don't
it?
know
Who
what that is.
sings that song?
I don't know who sings that song. I don't know if it's Luther or someone else, but I know exactly the song you're talking about. And I'm sure
Oh,
the listeners know exactly the song you're talking about.
I mean, because I've been so sad. I put that on when I get to work. I'm so upset that I can't remember it. Let me see. I'll find it for you, while Lilliam
Okay.
answers her question.
Okay. And you woo
I
woo
guess
woo.
I know. I love that she started singing it too. That's awesome. This song that I've just been playing is just I'm just into bachata. I'm still into this bachata music, and so I have been listening to John. I think his name is Soriano, and he is considered El Duque de la Bachata.
Oh,
And so,
excuse.
yeah, so he's so good. And
Perdón.
there's one song called Melina That's the song.
Melina. Okay.
Yeah, it's really good.
And a
Oh, wait,
quick
what is
question
it?
about. Oh yeah, go ahead, Lisa. What did you find out?
Oh, it is Jeffrey Osborne.
Jeffrey Osborne. That's who it is. Yes.
When I googled it, I put woo 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 song, and then it says and you know it. Shout out to Jeffrey Osborne.
Jeffrey Osborne.
Amazing.
Hilarious. Okay. Last question. Let's start off with Lilliam. What will be your legacy?
What will be my legacy? Well, I hope it's that I created and wrote books for young adult that are true, that I feel that that some young readers will connect with them, that they're just one voice, one Latinx voice. So I hope that's my legacy.
Lisa?
Those were the hard ass questions, Ritzy. You went straight, like, what is it, 2020, 60 minutes?
Also, like, she didn't send us questions beforehand, so we were just like, yeah, whatever.
You're delivering like some Bryant Gumbel Real Sports HBO.
Gotta mix it up. That's why I start light, like, what are 3 words? She's like, oh, these are maybe easy as fuck.
My legacy, I think I'm working on it still. I don't know. I change my mind so much about everything, but I would like it to be, I don't know, somehow related to books. Like, that's what my parents gave me. And I just believe, maybe foolishly, so strongly in the power of stories and seeing ourselves. And so, I mean, Imish was such a big part of my life, and I don't want it to think that that's over. So I'm just trying to think of ways that I can kind of like still carry that energy of Imish and kind of evolve it into maybe something maybe different,
Yeah.
But so many of my relationships and friendships and professional relationships have all evolved out of that in some capacity, like that's how I met the two of you, kind of, loosely connected to that. So I think that would have to be it, maybe.
Love it. So wrapping it up, Elisa, tell the people where they can find you. Tell them where they can listen to your amazing show. That, like, she put her show, you and DJ Patrick put me up on some things, on some peeps.
Aww.
So, and I love discovering new people, but I love that you guys do such a great job of curating, and it could put you in a zone. And then when you had Lilliam on there, your curation skills and then her playlist, I was living my life. Like,
nice.
And you can listen live, and you can also listen to archives of stuff. So where can everybody find you?
Well, like you said, I have it was the podcast originally. Now we are actually live on the radio on KQVH, which is a community service of the Boyle Heights Arts Conservatory. Shout out to Carmelita. And my co-host, who I miss and I love deeply, is DJ Patrick, who's a very accomplished DJ within the Los Angeles community throughout California. And we play sad songs. So that's this. But it has evolved, and it's not just, super sad songs, like lyrics. It's like a vibe. It's like a melancholy vibe we like to serve up. Mm-hmm. So that's every other Monday night, so twice a month. You can listen live on KQBH, or you can follow us at Heartbreak Monday on Instagram. That's the handle.
Yes. So I keep saying that, like, when this shit is over, I want to have like a proper cocktail party and just play your shit, play your music.
So
like, it's
good.
perfect,
That would
like
be
a
fun.
mocktail party, and then just everyone just talks. And she hates she loves music, she hates dancing, and she hates karaoke. I mean,
I
so
hate karaoke.
Oh my God.
She doesn't
How
dance.
much I love Jeffrey Osborne is that I sang a note on your show.
That is fucking true. That is true. We have that shit documented. Burr, burr, burr,
Yes.
burr. That's amazing. Amazing. Okay, Lilliam, where can people find you? And, just blah, 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 break down all the shit you got coming up.
Your book coming out next week, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, is it next week? God, I should look at calendar. Okay, September
Tuesday.
15th. Is it next week? Jesus Christ. September 15th, the book comes out, Never Look Back. It's my latest young adult novel. It's a retelling of a Greek myth, Orpheus and Eurydice. It's set in New York. And that comes out, and then I have um, a Star Wars short story. Comes out, I think, I don't know what month, but this year. And Wonder Woman anthology for DC Comics. I wrote a DC Comics about AOC. That's kind of cool. So a lot of good things. Very, very excited. So, it's like 2020 sucks, but then also 2020 was like, creatively was like amazing.
Yeah.
But, so I'm excited.
Yeah, so I'll put all in the show notes. I'll have everyone's stuff and links and dates and stuff, so we can, fact check that and put it together. I'll put it together and stuff like that. But ladies, Nabi Productions Lite. Please believe we ain't giving it all to you. You got to be privileged to that. It's only aquí, like so right here. That's it. Thank you so much for being on the second full-blown episode of Word to Your Mama. I really appreciate it. And it's also an excuse I get to see you bitches because you guys live in the same city and I don't. So in the time of the pandemic, this is great. I'll take it.
This is amazing. Thank you. I love supporting you. I think you're amazing. You're like an amazing mom, amazing designer, amazing connector. And so I really love this. Word to your mama.
Word to your mama. Thank you so much, ladies. I really appreciate it. Peace.
Hi, my name is Lilliam Rivera, and I am an author. And my latest young adult novel is coming out September 15th. It's called Never Look Back. It's a retelling of the Greek myth Orpheus and Eurydice set in New York with Afro-Latino protagonists, characters. It has bachata, it has Prince, it has love, it has angry spirits and goddess and all kinds of stuff. So that's it. What's up?
And now introducing
the Supernatural Bear Corner. Supernatural Bear. Hey everyone, SNV here, and today I would like to just tell you guys about a book that I got from Elisa, or Miss Elisa to me. It's called Dragons Love Tacos. She suggested it to my mom, and I got the book, and it was awesome. I loved it so much that I wanted to get Dragons Love Tacos too. They're both in storage, but anyway, so I love Dragons Love Tacos. And for Miss Lilliam, she is an author, and one of her books is called Goldie Vance. And I read the book a couple of weeks ago. Yeah, I think weeks ago. And I just saw it, I read it, and I loved it. All right, guys. See you later. Peace.
Yep. I told you they were dope. Yeah, great way to start this adventure off. So yeah, Nabi Productions, Elisa, also known as Lady Emish, and Lilliam. Great way. Super thankful for those ladies. As always, love to Liberty and the fam who are either on their way to New Zealand, quarantining in New Zealand, or living the COVID-free, free-range life that we could only dream of here. All right then. Peace. Word to Your Mama is owned and produced by Ritzy Periwinkle. The intro beat and most of the beats are produced by Nico Beats. Word to Your Mama is brought to you by RitziePeriwinkle.com, DorianSharp.com, and PanoplyBPO.com.